What is up, y'all? It's Ethan, the political ranter and the gutter tier gamer here, today with a story that made me spit out my morning coffee. Now, if you read the title of this video, you get the gist of the whole situation a little bit. But the Supreme Court, SCOTUS, received a petition to hear a case that has the potential to outlaw same-sex marriage. Let that sink in a minute. A writ of certiorari has the Supreme Court questioning whether or not they should outlaw same-sex marriage. Now, there's, in my mind, no way this passes, because if this does pass, as it rightfully should be, there will be a huge uproar. You see, in 2015, 10 years ago, Obergefell v. Hodges determined that same-sex marriage is protected under the 14th Amendment, and that no federal or state government has the right to outlaw same-sex marriage. This has been heard before. It's been decided before. And the whole argument against the ruling in Obergefell v. Hodges is based upon Christianity. And I'm a Christian myself. However, it is not the place of man to judge. That is something that's preached throughout the entire Bible. It is not man's place to judge. That is God's job. And if you think you're God and think you can judge others like that, that is not only despicable and disgusting, but that's also spitting in the face of the God you claim to believe in. And I don't think spitting in God's face is a very Christian thing to do. I feel like that's common sense. But then again, common sense isn't that common. And another huge issue, our country is rooted in secularism. Or, as Thomas Jefferson put it, there should be a wall of separation between church and state. Religion should not have a substantial influence on government. Now, I will give it to you. Some laws that exist are based upon religious principles, like thou shalt not kill. You're not allowed to kill people. Murder's illegal. Murder's one of the only capital offenses in our society. But religion should not have a substantial influence on the way our government functions and the rights that are and are not protected. And this is especially true when you consider how much of a melting pot America is. You've probably heard that before. America's a melting pot. We have so much ethnic and racial diversity. We also have religious diversity. There are hundreds of religions that exist in America. And in a truly secular society, all of those religions should be on equal footing. Like, Christianity in a truly secular society should not be more powerful than Judaism, should not be more powerful than Islam, should not be more powerful than Sikhism, should not be more powerful than Hinduism, should not be than any of these other religions that exist within our country. And there is a lot of them. Like, we should all be on equal footing, and that's the principle of secularism. That is what our country was founded on. And in fact, this is actually a large part of our First Amendment. The Establishment Clause, the government cannot establish a national religion. The government cannot say, oh, Christianity is our religion now. Everybody else, get the hell out of here, convert. And the Free Exercise Clause, you're allowed to practice your religion. The government's not allowed to say, you can't pray facing towards Mecca because that's not Christian. No. Like, the government isn't allowed to do that. That's rooted in our Constitution. And, like, the rights to same-sex marriage, this is something that's already been decided. It's already been upheld. And it's already become a root in our society. You see, same-sex marriage, it's not a phenomenon. It's not something that happens in like 2 counties across the entire country. No, it's happening in every state, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, it's not man's place to judge, especially over something as trivial as marrying the person you love. Like, we should be allowed to, let's say hypothetically, you're a dude. If you love a dude, marry a dude. If you love a chick, marry a chick. If you love a non-binary individual, marry a non-binary individual. It's not that difficult of a concept, and this shouldn't even be a debate right now. And it's really no place for a government to say who you are and who you're not allowed to marry in such a judgmental manner. That is by nature extremely judgmental and something the government should not be doing. And again, and if we look at this, we also have the principle of stare decisis, or to stand by things decided. Now, stare decisis is something that's existed before our government even did. It was actually taken directly from the Magna Carta, which existed several hundred years before American government. And the whole idea behind this is that if something's already been decided, you should stand by that decision and not overturn it, except under the most extreme of circumstances. There are circumstances where undermining stare decisis and overturning precedent has yielded good results and protected rights. Like if we look at Wolf v. Colorado, which was overturned by Mapp v. Ohio, the government police can't just search you and then use that evidence in trial. That's the exclusionary rule. That's Fourth Amendment protection. Or Trump v. Hawaii, overturning Korematsu v. U.S. Those Japanese individuals should have never been imprisoned for looking Japanese at a wartime fear-mongering. And this is something Justice Hugo Black in the decision of Korematsu pointed out. Fun fact, actually, the first time the word racism was used in a Supreme Court decision. But he essentially said that this goes beyond wartime necessity into the abyss of racism, and he was absolutely right. Or the most notable example of stare decisis being overturned and it being a good thing, Brown v. Board of Education overturning Plessy v. Ferguson. Plessy v. Ferguson said that, segregation is okay, separate but equal. Brown v. Board of Education determined that within public schools, segregation is not acceptable. It got rid of the separate but equal doctrine, protecting the rights of racial minorities. And those are the circumstances in which stare decisis should be undermined. Not questioning same-sex marriage. Having a same-sex marriage, my neighbors are lesbian and married. That has no impact on my life. In fact, I'm quite happy for them. They're really sweet people. I have several friends who are gay. I hope their boyfriends treat them well. It doesn't impact your life. It doesn't impact the lives of anybody. In fact, it would impact the lives of people if same-sex marriage wasn't protected, because then they wouldn't have the right to marry who they wanted to marry, and there would be clear and present discrimination against them by our own government. So, stare decisis. Let the decision stand. Do not overturn Oberfell v. Hodges. That would be objectively wrong. That would be contradictory towards the religious foundations that this outrageous argument is founded upon. That would be contradictory to the principles our nation is founded upon. And that would be objectively and morally wrong. There's really no other way to put that. And so, if the Supreme Court was to overturn same-sex marriage, determine it to be illegal, there will, as it rightfully should, be an uproar. And despite my Christian faith, I will be part of the uproar because it's wrong. There's really no other way of putting it. It is wrong. And so, if you enjoyed this little political rant, please, I would really appreciate a like and subscribe, and checking out more videos if you could. That would be amazing. And I will see you next time. Bye, y'all.